There it is, folks. It is time to get started here in the Paranormal Portal, and welcome everybody. Happy 2 days prior to the 4th of July for our American friends here, because I'm American too. But happy belated Canada Day to those of you from up north, and any other holidays that are going around that I don't know about. Happy that too. There you go. I think I'm covering all the bases. I do want to let you guys know, of course, this is the Paranormal Portal, and I'm your host, Brent Thomas. But there won't be a show, not a normal show, on Friday night because, of course, that's the 4th of July here in the U.S. So I'll be taking the family unit down to the park and watching things blow up with joy and glee. In a good way, not in a bad way. So going to watch fireworks, of course, and make a day of it, I guess. Hello, Justin Good Earth and Big D over on the Rumble, as well as Car Juice. Great to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. And hope you're doing wonderful. And got a whole host of people here with me on YouTube. And hello to anybody on Twitch, X, and or Facebook, wherever you're watching from. Thanks for being here, as always. I appreciate it. And hope you all are doing great. Happy hump day for what it's worth, as you're working your way towards the short end of the week, which is tomorrow for pretty much most of you anyway, if you're in the U.S. Because Friday's a holiday. Get that off. Get that extra long weekend, extra long fun. I just hope, for those of you here in the States, be safe. Somebody posted a meme. It might have been Brian Bowden that posted a meme. It made me laugh. It was like, there's several people out there that don't know that this is the last 4th of July that they're going to have all their fingers. It's like, yeah, that's a good point. Be careful. Things that blow are dangerous, so please be careful. However you're celebrating, and Phil says, I work Saturday. Well, as long as you get Friday off, that's good anyway, but sorry you got to work Saturday, Phil. It'd be nice to make it a long weekend, but I'm with you. I worked many jobs through my years of doing many jobs. And oftentimes holidays were kind of an afterthought. It's like, oh, well, you get extra money. It's like, yeah, but I'd rather just not be here. I know how it is, man. I slaved away at all kinds of terrible jobs and all kinds of some very good jobs too. Don't get me wrong. They weren't all terrible, but I ground many of my years away. Through holidays and everything, working shifts and filling my role. So I understand. It's part of the grind, I guess. You got it, Phil. It's making ends meet, man. The price you pay. I saw, who is this? Unreal Estate Agent. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Rachel gets it right. BJ Lapierre is here. Boondock Mojo. Dale Atkinson. Rachel gets it right again. And Phil Funk, of course. Werewolf's here. Bogart's up in the house, and let's see. I'm going to scroll up. Marie Garman is here. She was waiting anxiously. She was like, hey, I was waiting. Where you been? And sorry I was late. I just, I had to get my kitty in. I had to use the loo quick because, a man has needs. And my bladder was telling me my need was urgent, so I went. But I apologize that it caused me to start the show late. But if you've been around a while, you know that's kind of standard. 7 o'clock is more of a guideline, but not an absolute, obviously. Hello, Owl. Good to see you. And to Sharon Sunshine. Good to see you as well. Mickey G. I said Phil, Mickey G. John Stevenson is here. How you doing, John? Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Sorry, I don't mean to identify individual and say more. It's just I'm glad to see all you here. Mark Addy, of course, he was over with Brian Bowden a little bit ago doing his show. So glad you made it, brother. Good to see you. I appreciate it. And that, of course, is Third Eye Blind here on YouTube. Or Third Eye Blind, that's a band. Third Eye Live on YouTube. Every time I say that, I want to say Third Eye Blind. I don't know. I guess it's, I've known about Third Eye Blind a lot longer than I've known about Third Eye Live, but, either way. It was over there. I was watching Mark and Brian tear it up earlier, but now I'm over here. Jose Sanchez is here. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. And who else? Boondock Mojo, Sharon Sunshine, and I know I said most of those names already. I'm just saying something so I don't just sit here and breathe in a mic while I look for new names. I don't know. Is that it? Is that the oh, Jemgwin's here, of course. I know Jake's here as well somewhere, or was anyway. I'm sure Jake's still here among us. And I'm just looking for anybody I might have missed. In a quick scroll, it looks like I might have gotten all of them. So if I missed you, say hello in the chat. So oh, Josh Casto, how you doing, brother? I don't know that I said your name before. And Buttons 68, I didn't say hello to you, but welcome everybody. It looks like that's the roll call so far, and I know more people will come in. A lot of times, more people come in for the second hour than the first hour. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on out there. Keeps people's attention span, but whatever that's over, generally people come here. So glad to have you whenever you arrive. You're always welcome to be here. So Deborah Neighbors came in. Good to see you. Kat Dougherty, good to see you as well. So I guess that's everybody that I can think of for now. Got a lot to get to. Obviously, we're going to get to the news here momentarily. Special thanks to the channel members. I did a stream with you last night. I don't know if it was good or not. I just sat and editorialized in the mic for about, I don't know, an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. And I got done and I was like, God, did I really do? I mean, was that a snooze fest or was that interesting? So I hope for those of you that were there, thought it was, a decent conversation. But if not, I apologize. I'll try to bring more thematic discussion to those shows because they're just really cool. And special thanks to our channel members. Special thanks to all of you. Before you leave, don't leave anytime soon. That's not an invitation to leave soon. I think that Brent is ignoring what I said about text. What did you say? I didn't ignore anything, but I just can't read the chat. I'm talking. I have a lot to do. What did you say? Tex was hilarious. What happened? Hey, Brent, Tex started off the show shirtless. Jesus. Oh, wow. Man, what some people will do for clickbait, huh? When was this? I don't think I'm going to watch that replay. Love Tex dearly, but there's some individuals, well, no, there's most individuals I don't want to see without their shirt on. Most everybody. And, I don't even like to see my own shirt off. So anyway, that's pretty interesting. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm not topping that. I'll promise you that. Tex, more power to you, brother. I hope that works for you. Wow. It's turned out. Car Juice. I just came here from Third Eye. Barbara's over in Rumble. Okay, I'm just checking out Rumble chat here quick, trying to catch up. And drinking, it's turned out respectful. Okay, good. I'm glad. Well, welcome everybody who did come over here from Third Eye Live. I appreciate that. Karen Alberting's here. I lurk a lot. Sometimes I'm blabby, though. You can be either. There's no prerequisite to chatting. It's wonderful to see that you guys are here so I can say hi and thanks for coming in and all that, but whatever. If you want to just hang back and listen to the silky, dulcet tones of my voice, then by God, you're welcome to. But we're going to get to the news here pretty quick. Marie says, "Oh man, I missed it." Are you talking about Tex? Did you not see Tex shirtless? Wow, what a move! I gotta tip my hat to the guy. I guess that's one way to make people remember you. All right, but we're gonna get to the news, then we're gonna get to I guess what the hell is that? And an article, a little bit of an article that we've been going through from Thought Catalog, and then what the hell is that? And then we'll close out with the Cryptid Corner and see where we get. So that's my agenda for tonight. I hope that sounds good to you. I'm just looking at my hair here. So there is hair here all the way down. You can kind of see it if we go to the side. I'm going to have to color that darker because it looks like I just got a little dirt patch under my lip. And there actually is more hair here, but my hair is so light and stuff. I color my hair all the time. So if you don't know that, my hair's natural state is almost translucent. It's these hollow tubes of I don't know, sadness or something. I don't know. It's very white hair. My hair is very white. I've had every color hair in my life from like blonde, white blonde, to like a dishwater blonde, to brown, to a darker brown. And then it went like started going white, and I don't know why. I'm some kind of weirdo, but anyway, Whispering Portal says, I love you here, actually. Well, thanks. It's the best I could get from a bottle at the store. So, time in a bottle. That's what I call it. So, you know the old song, if I could save time in a bottle, first thing that I'd like to do is to put it in my hair and make all my cares go away and spend them with you. I don't know. I made that part up, kind of. But let's get to the show, and we're going to start with the news. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. No, I've never heard of that one, Grandizer. Looking for answers in the bottom of a bottle. I'm just looking for youth in the bottom of a bottle. And thank you. I appreciate, what was it, Whispering Portal said, Brent, you're handsome no matter what color your hair is. God bless you. God bless you. Love you bunches. Thank you so much for that. And I appreciate that. All right, so Grandizer, I have not heard of that song, but I'm sure it must be country. Funny, Brent, never seems to be enough time. Amen, Eric. I'm hearing you. But welcome, everybody, to the news. The Goblin came in. Good to see a Goblin. And Big D came in over on Rumble. I guess maybe he was there. But I just see that now. So hello to Justin Goodearth and Big D over on Rumble. Good to have you here, guys. Dog Digger came in as well. So the party is just all good to go. And everybody is welcome. So spread the word. Let more people know about the portal. All right, here we go. Throughout the course of the show, we utilize a lot of different sites. And if you don't mind, please visit these sites. Please give them your love. Give them your attention and visit them. The sites that I use are sites that I am absolutely incredibly impressed with. Like I've been browsing the internet for decades looking at this stuff. And some of these sites that I'm using are sites that I've been looking at for years and years because I just love not only the content, but the quality of what they do. And it's really tough to find real quality sites. There's a lot of trash out there. And so these sites are very important to me. They are exceptionally well done, current, and well managed and maintained. And so please support these sites. Visit them, give them your love and traffic, because traffic does equal revenue in this world of online stuff. So the more you visit, the more that they can keep the lights on. And I'd hate to lose any of these sites. It would just be a devastating blow. So it's tough to find quality content. You know, that's the tough thing. So, all right. So anyway, with that in mind, this is the news desk, and it's time for the news. Let me get this taken care of here and prepared. almost said something I would have had to explain, and it wasn't even it would have sounded incredibly inappropriate, but it would have been completely accidental, but I caught it before it came out of my lips, which for me is a big thing. Usually things leave my lips and I go, oh God, that sounded horrible. So this time I didn't have to course correct. I just let you know because it's a personal victory for me. All right, here we go. This is the news, the first article up. I don't know if you guys are interested in space and astronomy, but I think it's pretty fascinating what we're learning about the cosmos and what we're learning about the stars and the things going on in the universes around us. So, and I think it's neat that we can see that stuff. However, this event sounds bizarre that two such events would be happening at the same time. But here we go. Let's check it out. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com, an incredible site that I've come to love immensely. I'm going to turn off the second camera here because we don't need it. Nobody else is with me. It's just me. So here we go. Two stars explode at the same time in a rare double nova event. I mean, granted, there's trillions of stars out there. Maybe it's not as astronomically impossible as it sounds, but I mean, stars last for billions and billions and maybe longer. I don't know how many billions of years a star generally lasts, but what are the odds that two of them would be novaing at the same time? I think that's pretty wild. I don't know. I'm a rookie coming into this. It's brand new news to me, so let's find out what it says. Let me do this quick. There we go. All right, 2 breathtaking nova explosions have been spotted in the night sky within the space of just 2 weeks. Back on June 12th, astronomers reported the discovery of a striking new star in the sky, which is V462 Lupi. Such a romantic name. The scientists are so romantic. Which has suddenly become millions of times brighter thanks to a dramatic stellar outburst known as a nova. This happens when a powerful explosion occurs on a white dwarf star's surface, producing an intense burst of light that can be seen from thousands of light years away. Incredibly, however, just 2 weeks later, another bright star became visible, V572 Velorum, which had also seen a nova explosion that made it stand out against the night sky. This extremely rare dual event was practically unheard of, as novae are typically only spotted once a year, making 2 at the same time particularly unusual. That sounds unusual to me. I don't know if that was on your bingo card, but make sure to mark that one off. There is, without question, an extremely rare event, if not an historic one. Astronomer Stephen O'Meara told Space Weather, "I have yet to find an occurrence of 2 simultaneous nova appearing at the same time. Novae are different from supernovae in that they only affect the star's outer layers, as opposed to destroying them completely. It is also possible for a star to see a multiple novae occur over its lifetime." Man, can you imagine being a planet like say our sun just decided burp, then you got a nova, whatever, this is. Not a supernova, which is the, incredible expansion of a star and its eventual collapse into whatever, a singularity or a dwarf star or something. But can you imagine, we get a solar flare and stuff goes wacky with our electronics. What would a nova do? I bet you that would just shake and bake all of our electronics. I'll bet you that would be a doomsday event for sure for us. That's pretty crazy. Okay, well, there you go. I didn't know. I was today old when I learned about novae, this upper layer of the star disruption or explosion or whatever. It doesn't surprise me, though, I guess. If these are balls of helium and hydrogen and whatever else in these stars doing this fission, that's got to be explosive. So it's funny this isn't a more common event, really, when you think about it, right? I don't know. It seems pretty incredible that, and granted, these bodies of gases or whatever that make up these stars, they are billions of, a lot of them are really much, much bigger. Maybe not, several, maybe 1,000 times bigger than the Earth. But you'd think if you put a match up to it, it would be like, boom, and that would be it. But somehow they burn, and it's such a controlled thing. I don't know. It makes me marvel when you think of the complexity of what's going on in the universe around us and how it all just came together. That's what I think really cooks my bacon the most. It's like, all right, you think about something which is theorized as the Big Bang, and maybe that's right, maybe it's not, whatever. But at any rate, something happens suddenly, and all of this happened. All of this resulted from this one infinitesimally small possible event. And then all of this incredible complexity came from it. And if you think about things like, entropy, which is the natural state of degradation of a complex system. It's like if a complex system is formed, entropy is the degrading of that into more simple forms. But it's like everything went the opposite way. It went from this incredibly minuscule, simple form into this incredible complex thing. So I don't know what the opposite of entropy is, but I think that's this. All of this is the opposite of entropy. So yours is going wacky. Everything looks good on my end. Looks good here for what it's worth. But that's the first article. Let me look at the back end stuff here, see what's going on. Yeah, even YouTube looks good for me. I'm not getting any warning messages, so that must be on your end. Maybe refresh your browser window. Just refresh it and see if that clears it up for you. But I don't show any kind of latency here at all. In fact, my connections are pristine right now. You know, what? Cross yourself, whatever. I don't know what you do for that, but knock on wood. So, at any rate, that's a double nova. I was today old when I heard of nova. I've heard of supernova, and I just figured that was the only thing that happens, that and solar flares are what happens to suns. But apparently there's a lot more that happens to them, like these smaller explosions. But 2 of them within 2 weeks is pretty amazing. I just marvel at the fact that scientists can kind of dial that in. Well, what we're looking at here is this. It's like, how do you know? Wow. Because nobody's been there. Nobody's witnessed that happening. I didn't think. Maybe it is more common than I know of. But 2 at the same time or in the same time frame is very, very incredible. All right, so that's the first article. But wait, there's more. In the world of pharmacology, it's pretty stunning where they find their inspirations. It's not even showing me on the radar unless it's sitting in my lap. I didn't feel like it's pretty stunning where they find their inspirations. It's not even shown, but they did, and we're going to explore that now. From Archaeology and History of Unexplained-Mysteries.com comes the following. Toxic fungus in Tutankhamun's tomb could lead to new cancer treatments. Who's going to line up for that one? I'm wondering. I'd love to try that new toxic fungi. Toxic mold, I guess. I don't know. Fungus. Who's going to line up for that one? Brent jinxed himself. No, I'm not jinxing myself. I don't believe in jinxes. All right, here we go. Let's read the article. Beautiful face mask there. A remarkable find within the young pharaoh's tomb could lead to an invaluable medical breakthrough. How long is this one? Oh, Lord, this one's big. We'll just read a little bit of it, and then we'll put the link in there for anybody that wants to dig further into how they're using toxic fungus from Tutankhamun's death mask to make cancer treatments. What a combination. Justin Stebbing is who penned this. In November 1922, archaeologist Howard Carter peered through a small hole into the sealed tomb of King Tutankhamun. I don't know how better to say that, so I'm just doing my best. So forgive me if it sounds absolutely stupid. When asked if he could see anything, he replied, yes, wonderful things. Within months, however, Carter's financial backer, Lord Carnarvon, was dead from a mysterious illness. Over the following years, several other members of the excavation team would meet similar fates, fueling legends of the pharaoh's curse that have captivated the public's imagination for just over a century. For decades, these mysterious deaths were attributed to supernatural forces. But modern science has revealed a more likely culprit, a toxic fungus known as Aspergillus flavus. Sounds like it's in soft drinks everywhere. Now, in an unexpected twist, this same deadly organism is being transformed into a powerful new weapon in the fight against cancer. Yeah, I'm going to just stick with vitamin C, I think. If I was dealing with cancer, I don't think I'd be signing up for the pharaoh's deadly fungus as a treatment option. That just sounds horrible. It says Aspergillus flavus is a common mold found in soil, decaying vegetation, and stored grains. It's infamous for its ability to survive in harsh environments, including sealed chambers of ancient tombs where it can lie dormant for thousands of years. Well, there you go. When disturbed, the fungus releases spores that can cause severe respiratory infections, particularly with people with weakened immune systems, and this may explain the so-called curse of King Tutankhamun and similar incidents such as the death of several scientists who entered the tomb of Casimir IV in Poland in the 70s. In both cases, Investigations later found that A. flavus was present, and its toxins were probably responsible for the illness and deaths. How do scientists go, yeah, that killed a bunch of people. I wonder if we could treat cancer with it. How do they get to let's treat cancer with it? How does that happen exactly? I don't know. That's just like, it's like some 5D chess that I just can't understand. It's like, wow. So there you go. They're going to use fungus to treat cancer, ladies and gentlemen, which is fine. I mean, the natural world is full of natural medicines. I understand that, and I think that's awesome. However, I don't think taking a lethal fungus and, tailoring it to fight cancer is, I mean, that's kind of scary science to me. But I don't understand much of it, so I'm not pretending to be any kind of authority on that. But I got to admit, that's some scary stuff to consider. It's like, well, if it's not good for cancer and it's killed people in the past, why would I want you putting that in me? Where does that, how does that end well? It's like, hey, you know what, the cancer's gone, but you died. I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird. But anyway, there you have it. That's another article from the news. We got one more to cover tonight. Maybe we'll see how long it is. This one is a great story. On the podcast, actually on the YouTube show as well. And I ported it over to podcast because it was just such a great interview. I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Donald Raymond Schmidt, and he's an incredible guy. And he was actually on Dr. J. Allen Hynek's crew, not after his Project Blue Book involvement, but he went and investigated the Roswell incident after the fact. He interviewed a bunch of children of the people that experienced it, heard their stories, heard what they experienced, and we had just this incredible discussion about what happened at Roswell. Things that didn't make the papers and didn't make the public discourse. And Donald Raymond Schmidt, when he went into this, was very much skeptical. But he walked away from this investigation with absolute conviction and convinced that something really powerful and incredible happened there, and there was some serious level of cover-up involved in it. And, believing that something did crash there that was not of this world is what his take seemed to be to me. And you can listen to that interview. I think that was season 1 or 2 of the podcast, but incredible discussion. And very, very informed and knowledgeable guy. It was just really fascinating to listen to. So check out the podcast on any of the platforms, ladies and gentlemen. You can find those interviews with, I think he appeared twice, actually. So I had 2 conversations with him, and both were phenomenal. Just an incredibly intelligent guy. So here we go, 78 years on, from unexplained-mysteries.com. The story of the Roswell incident continues to intrigue. And of course, there's one of the cover-up photos of them showing balloon material. Even today, exactly what happened near Roswell, New Mexico, almost 8 decades ago, remains a mystery. In June 1947, several weeks before the official press release, William Brazel, a foreman working on the Foster homestead, discovered a quantity of strange debris spread out approximately 30 miles north of Roswell, and he returned with his family on July 4th to gather some of it up. But after hearing reports about flying discs, he decided to mention it to Sheriff George Wilcox. Wilcox then spoke to RAAF Major Jesse Marcel, who alongside Captain Sheridan Cavett came to examine the debris for himself. After collecting some of the material, Marcel took it to Colonel William Blanchard, who in turn reported the incident to General Roger Ramey at Fort Worth. In an official announcement on July 8th, Public Information Officer Walter Hout declared that a flying disc had been found in the area. By the time the story had been broadcast on Roswell radio station KSWS, the news had reached the Associated Press and the world began to spread fast. There was a T at the end of that, sorry. The cover-up. Keen to play down the incident, General Ramey, along with his Chief of Staff, Colonel Thomas Dubose, and Weather Officer Irvin Newton held a press conference on July 8th, declaring that the object had come down near Roswell had in fact been little more than a weather balloon. No, it wasn't. At the time, this resulted in the story being mostly dropped by the media, and apart from a few articles reporting the weather balloon crash, the incident was mostly forgotten. But the mystery deepens. The events that took place near Roswell in 1947 would go on to be forgotten for several decades until stories and witnesses' testimonies began to emerge, suggesting that a lot more had taken place than the military had let on, and that the object had crashed was in fact no weather balloon. In 1978, UFO researcher author Stanton Friedman interviewed Jesse Marcel, the Army officer who had witnessed the debris firsthand and had accompanied it back to Fort Worth. It says Fort Worth, but it means Fort Worth. He maintained that the weather balloon story was just a cover-up and that the object that had crashed was in fact an extraterrestrial spacecraft. As time went on, more and more purported witnesses of the events at Roswell came forward, each with their own stories to tell. Some described witnessing alien bodies being taken from the crash site, while others reported that the recovered debris had possessed peculiar qualities found in no other terrestrial materials. In 1989, former mortician Glenn Davis told Stanton Friedman that he had received several calls at the time of the incident from Fort Worth asking him about body preservation. He even spoke to a nurse who claimed that to have witnessed an autopsy being carried out on an alien body. Several other witnesses later reported seeing alleged alien bodies being transported. Official response to this day, there has never been a formal acknowledgement that the object that crashed near Roswell in 1947 was anything other than a balloon. In 1993, an inquiry initiated by Mexico Congressman Steve Schiff concluded that the object was a high-altitude surveillance balloon launched as part of a secretive program known as Project Mogul. A clandestine nature of the project was said to explain why the military had been so keen to cover it up as a simple weather balloon. And while this explanation has satisfied many, there is still a great number of people who believe that something much more significant had taken place. As things stand, the truth of what happened in Roswell in 1947 remains elusive. I guess, according to Dr. Schmidt, he said that the military came in just balls deep, and they hit the town like a wave with detaining and questioning and essentially initiating martial law in the small community, and it was horrifying for the residents of the community, and they were subject to interrogations and all kinds of stuff. So I think this is I think it was something out of this world. It sounds like whatever was going on, they were really keen to get every piece of it. They were known to tear people's houses apart that were said to have pieces of this material in order to recover it. I mean, whatever happened there, something just out of this world happened, and the official reaction of sending a platoon of soldiers to collect a weather balloon is just ridiculous, even if it was some sort of advanced project to do whatever in a high altitude balloon that they're claiming. I'm sure that's the newer cover up, because I mean, whatever they got, let's say they did recover a craft. Well, we don't understand how much further advanced this craft was, and probably still very much is, to our capabilities. And so reverse engineering is a colossal undertaking, because it's like taking a calculator and handing it to a caveman. They're not going to know what the hell it is. They just know they don't know what it is. And I think that would be very much the same for handing a saucer to us right now that's from an extraordinarily advanced civilization, having it somehow crash here for whatever reasons, and then we have to try to understand what it is, backward engineer it. So you're taking it from its most complex state, which is the almost functional state before it crashed, and trying to reverse engineer and figure out what the hell it is and does. And that is a Herculean task. on the best of days. So I'm sure they don't want to release this information. Yeah, we caught it. We did. We grabbed a saucer. It was just us. Because they're still really deep into researching what it is and what it can do and how it can be utilized to make America greater. I don't know. I'm just saying. And I'm not trying to make this political. It's just, I think that's just the modus operandi of the military. I think if something can be a stick, how big is that stick? How can we swing it? And how much will it knock down? And that's what they're trying to figure out. And then after they do that, then they'll throw little bits and pieces towards patents and other things that they can sell and probably make a killing. Who knows? But anyway, there you have it. Roswell continues to mesmerize us. It's just one of the focal point events in the history of the more modern United States of very probably being some form of contact from an extraterrestrial civilization. So I don't know what you think about it. I'd like to know. Let's do a chat poll. We do those sometimes here. Put a 1 in the chat. You think definitely something crashed there. It was recovered and is being covered up even still today. Or 0. It's just a weather balloon. Let me know what you think in the chat. I want to see what you guys have to say about this because and I'll just put it out there. I think it's real. I think it absolutely something crashed and was definitely covered up. But looks like we have all 1s over on YouTube. Yeah, it is. I really believe there's something to reverse speech. Oh, yeah, I remember you were digging into that. Yeah, all kinds of 1s. I haven't seen 1-0s. B. Mora, Barbara Mora says 1 over in Rumble. 1.5. So Grandizer's way on board with this. Goblin's on board. Yep. Annie, I knew a journalist from Roswell. Wow. Okay. That's fascinating. I'd love to know what they had to say. 1-ish, Werewolf is pretty much on board. UFO crashed into weather balloon. It was both. Grandizer. That might be creative polling there, sir. All right. Think about the technology we got today after that crash happened. The technology from that crash boom big time. Yeah, I thought about that a bunch. You're right. Whispering portals. 1, there was 2 discs, Unreal Estate Agent says. Yeah, there could have been. I only know of 1 crash site, though. Whether they both came down together, I don't know. But I know that 1 crash site left a debris field of over like 1.5 miles or something like that. It was really crazy. Yeah. Very cool. Fiber optics. Yeah, that's one of the things that people have claimed. Comes from reverse engineering some of the technology. But, yeah, it could be. Could be. So, anyway, yeah, I think this is a profound event, and we're no nearer to getting the truth of that than we were in 1944. I think, what was this, 47? So 48, whatever. I just think they're nowhere near releasing the truth on this, and there's nothing we can do about it, really. They have the keys, they have the vault of information, and we have a lot of questions. So there you go, the Roswell crash. Interesting stuff. Oh, man, that one's going to be for Saturday. I got 3 more to go that are going to go for Saturdays, but one of them sounds, I don't know whether it's cool or not. We'll discuss it on Saturday, though. Several more news articles I've farmed for the coming shows. Again, there won't be a live show on Friday, so don't watch for the show then, but feel free to watch a replay if you're sitting at home on the 4th and thinking, hey, I need some Portal. There's always old episodes to check out, guys. In fact, there's 1,000, how many? Let's get back to the rest of the show first. I'm going to look this up while we're in transition. According to Social Blade, there's 1,846 episodes of the Paranormal Portal right here on the YouTube channel. Of course, the other platforms are, they don't archive them. I think Rumble does, though. I think Rumble will archive them, but I haven't been streaming on Rumble for nearly as long. So I'm sure there's episodes on both that you've not seen, but they're, anyway. You ever hear of Project Amber Sun? And if so, what do you think about it? I don't recognize the name of it at all. So I don't have an opinion because I don't know what Amber Sun is. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know for sure. So I can't really weigh on that. Unreal Agent says, the U.S. got both. Mexican military soldiers found it first and supposedly died from something, and the U.S. military in hazmat suits retrieved it. What was that in regards to a crash in the I'm looking for where's your first part of that conversation. I'm still trying to catch up on the old shows. It's taking so long at Brent. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of shows. I've been at this since 2017. And for years, I did 10 shows a week. I did 7 live shows, 7 days a week, every week. And I didn't miss many days in 2 years. So that's I don't know, 700 and some. Anyway, so that kind of adds up quick. So and then for many years I did 5 shows a week, and then I went down to 3. So that's why there's so many in the 7 years that I've been on YouTube. So it's getting there. A lot of material, just not a lot of traffic yet. But that's okay. I've got you guys, and that's all I need. You guys keep me happy. All right. Possible they might have died by American bullet. Brent, you said it'd be okay if I still take my normal seat on Friday when I show up early, even if you won't be there. Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead, Phil. You come in early and make sure the lights are on. If anybody wants to come hang out, you're in charge of the portal for Friday night. Okay. All right, Karen Alberding. I tried once to see the border in San Diego on Google Earth. It won't let you. I was just curious how many gate things there were. I remember 20 or so, so I decided to check. Can't do it that way. What gates are we talking about? That's very interesting. I don't know what you mean. I guess I came on to the shows the last year. You did 5 shows a week. Oh, okay, yeah. You've been around. You've been with me for a long time, Rachel. I've really been thrilled to have you, and all of you actually. But some of you guys have been with me for a long time. Brent, yes, I can host the portal on Friday too. Well, I love you guys a lot, but nobody drives Daddy's car. You know what I'm saying? I love them. Great for binge watching during downtime. Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate it. The entry things. Oh, into the U.S. You mean like the? Are you talking about the border wall or what? I don't know what the entry things are. But anyway, yeah, interesting. I host the portal. Brent's subs go to under 1K. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. Obviously, I'm trying to build this. Eric Fry remembers 5 days a week as well. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but I loved it. I would still do it today, but I was just like, well, maybe it's too much of me is what I was kind of thinking. I was like, maybe it's too much. I'm out there. And if you're always around, it's easier for people to go, well, I'm going to go check out this other show, and then I'll watch that on the replay and then I'll be there for the live another night, so that's why I went down to 3. Plus for my own sanity. I mean, life just gets complex, and there's a lot of things to take care of, not only with all the shows and the other parts of doing this stuff, but also life. I mean, just being in a family, having a kid, and the things that are necessary to keep everybody happy. So I just had to back away from the shows a little bit more, but I think it's helped me a lot because I've been able to develop the shows a lot more, not doing them every night of the week. And then, one day on a Saturday, or having a Sunday, Monday off. I used to just do Sunday, Mondays off. And then, but I really couldn't innovate a lot because I was just trying to fill the gaps so I could keep going on keep those shows going. And so it was more like feeding the beast rather than making a better beast, and that's probably a terrible metaphor, but you guys know what I mean. I've been always trying to adapt and be innovative on this show because I think if you keep doing the same show over and over and over and over and over, with different information, it's something that after a while you'd have to have just incredibly powerful information all the time to keep people dialed in. And that's not a complaint. It's just human nature. You know, you can only watch it. Like if there was a NASCAR race every day of every week, it would be like people would quit watching. It's like, yeah, I watched 3 of those this week. I got to mow the lawn or something, you know. Other things become paramount. So that was what I figured. And so instead I just innovate as much as I can to bring you guys the best shows I know how, you know. And that's not always saying a lot, but I do the best I can. So anyway, Thursday Brent was on his own Night Terrors or something like that. Absolutely, Maggie. You remember that. Yep. Maggie mentioned a possible Stargate location in Australia. Asked if it was blurry on Google Maps, and Karen mentioned Google Earth as well, having a blurry area. Oh, okay, gotcha. Thanks for that clarification. It's just, I can't obviously watch the chat a whole ton, so I oftentimes jump in the middle of conversations going, what's going on? What are we talking about? So, Brent, then you could make the networks programming. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to do a network show or not. I think that if I was to do that, I would lose a lot of control over what I'm doing, and that would scare me because I don't know. Networks are absolutely geared towards the best performance possible, no matter what. In I'm not willing to sacrifice my integrity for popularity. Like, you know, because it's great when people know your show, and it's great when people show up for your shows. But if you can't feel good about what you're doing, or if you're doing questionable things just to keep people interested, I just can't do it. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror, if that makes sense. And that might be stupid. It might be naive, but it's like you have to have a solid character as much as you can. And I've got enough flaws anyway, but I don't need to add disingenuous and liar on top of those. I would not do a network thing. It's not that I wouldn't appear like on a ghost hunting show or something like that, or, you know, I would enjoy like that kind of show. I wouldn't, unless I could have control over what I'm doing. I don't know if that I would ever entertain doing a network style show about the paranormal. I think it would be too hard to let someone else yank my reins and tell me where to stand and what to say and how to say it. And I would feel like a puppet. So it's not what I'm looking for. You know what? I appreciate that myself. Yeah. Amen. All right. Paranormal Portal at Brent. Hello, Linda. Good to see you. Great to see you. Mr. Jason Finch came in. Good to see you, brother. And, yeah, very cool. All right. So, let's get to the next part of the show. This is an article we've been going through for a few shows, and we're going to go through some more if I can figure out where the hell it is. No, not that one, but this one. All right, here we go. This one is an article from thoughtcatalog.com, and this is a cool site. I've always loved Thought Catalog because they literally have articles about everything. Now, they used to feature quite a few paranormal type articles, and I love that. I mean, they did it really, really well with a lot of different Reddit scrape articles, and they were fascinating and have been fascinating, continue to be fascinating articles. But they kind of seem to have steered more into media. Like now their spooky section, instead of focusing on, you know, creatures from around the world and ghost stories you won't believe and all of this stuff, to horror movies. Why is Chucky... why is the latest Chucky more exciting than the previous, or whatever? It's more like pop culture focus, and I can maybe understand there's probably a bigger audience for that, but I really miss their reporting about the paranormal, the supernatural, the cryptozoological, UFO stuff. To me, that was really something they did exceptionally well. And I'm still going through the archives looking for some of those old articles that we haven't covered, or at least haven't covered for a long time. I'm sure we've duplicated a few through the years, but I like Thought Catalog a lot. So whatever you're interested, you're going to find something over on Thought Catalog that'll pique your interest. I need a drink. Very good. There we go. My whistle is wet. Yep, Grandizer, I'm with you. I'm of the opinion that too much of something does not always mean it's a good thing. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's a belief, just as a side note here, There's a belief that actually diamonds are incredibly abundant. Like there are tons and tons of diamonds that remain uncirculated because they're the diamond conglomerates have them locked in a vault, and they release only so many per year to create an implied scarcity. So it's artificial scarcity though, and that's why diamonds still command a premium price. But, and I don't know if that's true or not. I don't pretend to have that kind of information, but that's what I've heard, is that diamonds are actually really common to run into in mining situations where, where they're formed or where they're found. They find tons of them, but they've locked up most of them in a vault, and they just hand release a few every year or enough to fill the needs, and then they just keep the rest locked away. Because if they just opened it up and said, hey, we've got truckloads of diamonds, train cars full, and we're going to put them all out there, well, then the prices would hit the basement. You could buy probably a diamond at a cubic zirconia price, but it's artificial scarcity. So, and it's clever. It's actually a clever business model when you think about it, but it's not legitimate. However, I think that does prove that point, that if something is just abundant and available, it just becomes less valuable in a sense. And certainly that can be the case for media, So that's my take on it anyway. All right. There we go. Let's go to this article. This is from Thought Catalog, and cool article. I like this one. And this is one that's called 30 Spooky Paranormal Stories from Former Military Personnel. And this is written by January Nelson. It's from 2018, but it's been a really cool article. I'm not sure how I missed this one for so many years, but I'm glad I found it now. And we're going to continue reading this one. We're on number 14. In basic military trainings are not carried out on Thursdays. And there's a very well-known tale which supposedly explains why this is so. Sometime in the past, 1970s if I'm correct, soldiers were having their training in the forest at night. When they did a head count, they realized that one person was missing. Well, this caused a search party to be sent out, and when they found his body, it was hung from a tree, with his field pack items displayed in the mud. They found his innards torn out and lined behind the tree in a standby bed order. This actually made the news, and if you dig around for it, you could probably find it in the archives. The Straits Times, I think. Another one is at basic training as well, like the U.S. Marine Corps. We get shipped off to a little island instead of going to Paris Island, we're sent to Tekong. At the ammo dump, the CCTV is blocked by a piece of cloth, and this is supposedly because you can see a ghost floating above the wall of the ammo dump. Oh, that's kind of bizarre, right? So they got the cloth to kind of cover that part up so they don't have to watch the ghost floating around, I guess is what that means. I don't know how that's relevant for a Thursday thing. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not a military guy. I've never been one, so I don't have a point of reference for this, but I wonder if that's true, if there is trainings on Thursdays, or is that like a day off? Or at least they don't do field trainings then because of this one incident. That doesn't just seem very likely though, right? I don't know. Again, I'm not a military guy. Maybe there's other reasons for it. If anybody in the military knows or is here, what's a standby bed order? I don't know either, Maggie. I have no idea. I've never been military, so a lot of military terms and phrases are lost on me, honestly. If it never appeared in a video game that I've played, I don't know. I've been playing one lately in moments that I have. It's called War Thunder. It's where you drive like tanks and go into battles and stuff. And God, I suck. I suck so hard. It's so bad. It's almost making me rage quit sometimes, just because it's like, oh my God, some of these guys out there are just so good and I'm so terrible. But they probably played thousands of rounds and I've got dozens, so it's a whole different situation. But anyway, there you go. Number 15, my brother's barracks were haunted by a drill sergeant when he was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Oh, that's where Sheldon went. Sheldon went there for basic. Oh, that's wild. they were haunted by a drill sergeant there. I wonder if Sheldon ever heard anything about it. I probably won't remember to ask him, but if any of you guys remember, let's ask Sheldon on his next appearance. Is there any stories of a haunted barracks haunted by a former drill instructor in Fort Sill? I'm curious if he would know anything about that. Anyway, he said the spirit wasn't malicious or anything. He would just watch over the soldiers and pace up and down the aisle between their beds at night. Sometimes they felt cold spots, and a few of the guys, including my brother, actually saw him. He was wearing World War II era fatigues. The ghost would follow them if they got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom or something and make sure they got back to their bunk okay. And once my brother woke up in the middle of the night and the ghost was peering over his bed, looking at him. Again, I got a theory about that. I've shared it on a few shorts and stuff, but I want to see what you guys think. He said he got the feeling that the ghost hadn't moved on yet because he was worried that something would happen to one of the soldiers if he wasn't there to look over them. When my mom went out there to visit, she felt someone really cold touch her leg when she walked past the area that the ghost liked to hang out in. My brother also had something weird happen in my Fuji once. I don't know what my Fuji is. And they were doing land navigation training. Maybe it's Mount Fuji is what he's trying to say. They were doing land navigation training in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden everything went dead silent. Even the crickets stopped chirping. I know that sound, or that lack of sound. It's pretty disheartening. Then their compasses started spinning around, and he swears that they passed the same road twice, even though they were walking in a straight line and hadn't changed direction. He said that Mount Fuji is a really eerie place at night, and a lot of his friends experience weird stuff there too. Yeah, that is kind of a mystical area. There's several reports coming out of the Mount Fuji area. One that saw an old man, basically, it's assumed an old man in a white robe with a long white beard and mustache. And then the person first saw this white fox. And then the fox dashed off, and the guy walked around the corner, and there was sitting this old just white-robed, white-haired, almost ancient-looking Japanese man in robes just sitting there. I guess they exchanged some words because the guy was lost, as I recall. And he saw that fox. Or no, he saw the old man first, and the old man went, just walk back that way, and gave him the guidance. And then suddenly, as he was walking to find his way back, following those vague instructions, the white fox emerged again and kind of guided him out. So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. What I was going to say about the whole ghost looking at someone sleeping, I think that's a fascinating possibility. I've often wondered about that because I can't tell you the number of stories that I've covered through the years of people seeing these apparitions. They'll just be sleeping, dead asleep, and suddenly they just feel really uncomfortable and they open their eyes, and right in front of their face is a ghostly face looking at them. And I keep wondering, what the hell is going on? What could they possibly be doing? Because it's not like the people are feeling like, oh, I felt so weak and groggy, like it was sucking out my life force. It's like they wake up in sheer terror because they open their eyes and there's a ghostly face looking at them, like inches from their own face. And I guess the only thing that I can reconcile about that is, could they be watching our dreams? Because our dreams are energetic, right? Thought is energetic and probably projects beyond the perimeter of our skin. And maybe they can get close and just watch our dreams like a movie. Is that possible? I don't know if it is or isn't, but it's the one possibility I've come up with that seems to make some kind of sense. And maybe they don't sleep. Maybe they just kind of go dormant. And so they don't dream. So they watch our dreams. Maybe that's entertaining. And I don't know if there's any merit to that or not. I really don't know. But it's a fascinating possibility, I think. What do you guys think? Could ghosts watch our dreams? Is it like Netflix and chill for spirits or what? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. What did the fox say? Well, I can't remember verbatim what it said. It was a kind of an odd story, but basically the guy was just hiking around Mount Fuji, got extraordinarily lost, couldn't find his way back. The day was weighing on, and I think he saw the fox first, and so he started to follow fox, and it disappeared around this corner in the path, and so he walked over there to see where it went, and there was sitting the wizened old man, ancient-looking man, all in white, and they exchanged some pleasantries. And the guy just said, I didn't know what to do, but I thought I'd ask him for directions. And he said, yes, go back down that path. And then, gave him some additional directions. The guy said, oh, thank you. And then went on his way and saw the fox again. And the fox kind of let him out. So was it a spirit fox that manifested as a person, or a person that could manifest as a spirit fox? Or was it all spiritual? I don't know. But it was fascinating. Very fascinating story. I don't know how to find that anymore. Maybe I'll try to find it and bring it up sometime. So anyway, I don't know. I think they could see our dreams, though. Maybe that's why they sit and get right close to us as we're sleeping, because they're checking out our entertainment going on in our sleep state. I don't know. Just some thoughts. All we do is think about this stuff, right? Number 16, my husband and I were stationed in Germany, as in we were both enlisted at the time. This crappy little apartment on the base was haunted, and we would set things down in the kitchen and go to the living room, and you would just hear things being rearranged. We could be sitting in the couch, not moving. Upstairs neighbors are out, and things would move. We figured, it's only moving kitchen stuff, so let's just ignore it. And then the heat wave hit. Now, Germany doesn't have AC. You have radiators for the winter and windows that either angle 45 degrees or open depending on how you turn the handle. So his first full summer there, my second, it was so hot, we couldn't both sleep on the full-size bed because there wasn't enough space to get away from the sweaty heat producing. So I was on an air mattress on the floor. One morning I wake up and the bed is almost completely deflated, so I open my eyes and there's a person in my face, like leaning directly over me, almost nose to nose. There it is again. I scream and they vanished. I told my husband he was either getting us a bed we both could fit on, or I was going to request a barracks room because that thing never bothered me when he was sleeping with me. Well, after that, I never saw it again. But the slamming noises in the kitchen got louder and more frequent, as if it was throwing a fit. Yeah, I probably was bummed. It was probably into that episode, and then you woke up and screwed up the entertainment. Damn it. Interesting story. All right, one more for now. What are we at for time? 8:11. Yeah, then we got to get to the, we're going to do one more, and then we got to get to the, what the hell is that? Because that's coming up next. Number 17, one time at an Air Force base in the ROK, we had a power outage at night. All of us walked out of our hangar doors to see what the problem may have been, and we saw a very, very large triangular shape passing over our hangar. It was a clear, moonless night previously, and when we went outside to look, we noticed the starscape being covered and then slowly uncovered. No sound associated with the event other than the normal sounds of the location. I'll never forget. Yeah, that's pretty wild. There is no question that, I mean, we don't understand the technology, but it does seem to affect the electromagnetic fields, and our electronics rely on the electromagnetic polarities. In order to work, we need a positive and we need a negative for a circuit to be charged. So whatever these things, when they're going over, are completely disrupting that. And I'm not suggesting that they are using electromagnetic forces, but whatever they are using disrupts our electromagnetic circuits, or our electrical circuits. So it's crazy. Whatever it is, but then when it goes by, the polarities are restored and everything goes back to normal. So it's very interesting. There's breadcrumbs in that, I would think, that I don't know where they lead. I'm not smart enough to know such things, but it seems to me that maybe someday electronics will be developed that things like electromagnetic pulses won't be an issue, or solar flares or things like that, because they'll be so well shielded that those disruptions won't affect the actual circuitry that we rely on for everything from our electricity to our water to our, our financials to, entertainment, communications, etc. So I think they should be really working on shielding those things a lot better. But that brings us to 18, which we'll get to, I guess, on Saturday. I don't know. Maybe I'll extend an invitation to Tex and see if he'll make it on Saturday to join us then with his shirt on. By the way, I'm going to request he wears a shirt. I'm actually probably going to have to go watch that now just because my mind is reeling that the man started his show shirtless. He started it shirtless. God bless him, man. He's got cojones of titanium. I don't even like to see myself without a shirt on. If I ever start a show without a shirt, I've just sold the plot at that point. I'm all in at that point. I love the guy though. Tex is one of a kind. I've never met another Tex Wesson in my life, and I'm thrilled to know him. Just such a neat man. All right, so we are going to get to the next part of our journey. It was hilarious, BJ says. You got to give him props though. That's a ballsy move. I mean, if you're chiseled and you're in good shape, well then, yeah, I mean, show it. You're taking care of it. You've done a good job, and by God, you should be proud of it. But I don't know, whatever's going on under my shirts, it looks like science fiction more than science. To me, I'm just saying, it's just not my proudest moment when I get my shirt off and go, what have you done? What have you done? So anyway, God bless him. I appreciate it. I recently heard that Phil is in the discussion. Phil in the episode discussing our strange phenomenon or ghost. What? I'm just seeing comments here, so I'm just marching through them. But yeah, the more clothes I got on, the better. Unfortunately, I don't like to wear a lot. Just t-shirt, shorts, and that's about it. And this hat. And just so you know, I guess this is about as topless as I'm ever going to go on the show. And this is probably going to be nightmare fuel anyway, because my hair generally, unless I add a pound of gel, has a mind of its own. So, but I got it. It's here. It's just all covered up. So I went topless on my show for you guys. You're welcome. Take a screenshot. Last longer. Yeah, I'm full-time idiot here. You guys, you just don't know. You don't know how much I give. Brent, can you request Russell Reynolds of Russell Reynolds Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast to host a stream? No, I'm not requesting anybody host my streams. I'm only hosting my own streams. I love other creators. I have a lot of wonderful friends in the creator community, but still, this is my baby. I'm gonna drive it until I can't drive it anymore. Then maybe somebody else will drive the bus. But until then, this is it. Yep, there you go. Yeah, thanks, Eric. That's my topless episode for you guys. So take that, Tex. All right. Oh my God, in my Sheldon voice. Well, yeah. I'm follically challenged, unfortunately. It's okay. I mean, you know what? I've noticed it's getting thinner. Well, not that you care about my hair that much, but I mean, it's getting a little thinner up here, but I've still got a lot of hair. I just always will have. But I mean, look at it. It's just a freaking explosion under this hat. That's generally okay. So here's the thing. I never wore the hats as like a statement or a fashion choice. I just always wear hats because I'm tired of messing with my hair. Like my hair has a mind of its own. And once I start wearing these and it starts rubbing against my head, suddenly I have hair poking up and stuff. So it's like, nope, I'll just wear the hat. I've done it pretty much since the beginning just because I got tired of trying to keep it gelled down because my hair is really like thick and straw-like. So, yeah. So anyway, that's the reason I wear the hat. And now it's just become, I guess, my thing. I didn't mean it to be my thing, but it's just become my part of my identity, I guess. So it's both hair and it's what people, I guess, expect. So, and maybe I'm editorializing a lot there. Hard to watch others between making your own vids, I bet. Yeah, it is. Honestly, it is. You're right, Justin. In doing these shows, there's a lot involved if I want to do it really well. Like I could turn on the camera like I did last night and just talk and see what happens. And there's some shows out there that do that, and God bless them. That that's their formula. You know what, BJ? I've heard that before. Actually, Tex said that because he talks about how nobody recognizes him without his hat. And I was like, I wonder if that'd be the same for me. And I took off my hat, and he went, God, I don't think I would have recognized you if you walked by me without that hat on. So that's Brent is the hat. Yeah, last light. Well, you never know. I mean, it's okay. I like these hats. I've always been fond of the whole reverse beret thing. So, and these hats are real nice and light. They're very porous, and and it's not like fabric on my head. It's like a net of material. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a light weave. They're called a tropical hat or something like that from Kangol. They're kind of expensive though. I don't know how I got my first one, but I fell in love with them, so I got more. But yeah, doing these shows is if you want to do it well, at least the way that I do my shows, I've got to work at it pretty consistently and look for material and things. It's because I rely a lot on articles, because I've been having these discussions for 1,800 and whatever it was, 46 shows. And I could sit and say things, but it would probably be things you've heard 500 other times on other episodes. So it would be very redundant now without all these articles and things that we do, different things, but it requires a lot of setup. So that's what keeps me young, I guess. Okay, let's get to the next segment, which is one that I love a lot. Here we go, folks. It's time.
What the hell is that?
Indeed, that's the question. What the hell is that? And that's what we're wondering all the time. Whoops, don't need to redo that again yet. I clicked it twice. All right. So this is What the Hell Is That? And this is a newer segment. Brent is a hairy situation. Just on my head, though. I don't have like serious body hair or anything like that. I have some, but I'm not one to part squatch or anything. All right, so let's see. I didn't mean it in a bad way. I said that when you said take a screenshot. No worries, Marie. I appreciate it. So What the Hell Is That is a segment where we look at people's alleged evidence. And what's funny is this is almost a full circle thing for me. Like, how other channels are doing these videos where they'll show somebody else's video and then they'll talk about it. I'm not meaning to pat myself on the back, but that was the very first thing that I did when I started YouTube in 2017. I would do these videos reviewing evidence. They were called evidence reviews, Paranormal Portal evidence reviews. And I had to hide them all because I kept getting copyright strikes. And these other channels were just all over me. And I was a brand new channel and I was getting hit like crazy, that I couldn't use them. And I was like, my God, and now everybody does it, but I was doing it back in 2017 before everybody else was, but I wasn't allowed to. And it makes me think, God, if I could have challenged that and said, look, this is fair use. I'm not claiming ownership. I'm just reviewing this for educational purposes. Like, is this real or is this not real and why? So the whole idea behind this is not really that new. It's just, I'm not going to not do it now because everyone else has been doing it and I was doing it before everyone else. Like, honestly, before anyone else. But it's just, I was a trailblazer, but all I did was mow the grass and then the stampede came and wore it down. So, I mean, I was very proud of that. And I love doing those evidence reviews. Don and I used to do them together, but yeah, they kept spanking me. I'm like, well, we've got to do something different because I can't do this anymore. So there you have it. That's how this all came to be. But now everybody's been doing it for a long time. And I'm like, well, it must be okay, right? I mean, I do acknowledge the creators and I don't claim ownership of any of this stuff, but it's all for discussion's point. What are these videos? What are we looking at? Why might they be real? Why might they not be? So that's what we're going to do now. Thank you, Marie. I appreciate that. I like the format of this show. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Marie. We're going to go through several videos. I actually have several pulled up. This first one, this is hosted by, this video is not his, but it's one that he hosted, and I think it's pretty cool. I've seen this one. I saw the original a couple of years ago or a year and a half ago, and I was fascinated by it. But we often talk about how can children see spirits? Is this, and of course, I believe that they can. Oftentimes, after animals, the next individual in a household that's going to become aware of a haunting is usually a kid. Kids are tuned in. They're pretty in touch with energetic things going on behind them. I've talked many times about my theories about why that is. But let's listen to what this kid is saying. And again, this is from Ghost Toast channel on either Instagram or Facebook. It's on the reels of Facebook, so check out Ghost Toast. I'm sure he's got a ton of these, and that would be interesting for you guys to check out. But at any rate, this is his video. I've got to close all these chats. I hate that about Facebook, that even if you have a chat and you're done chatting, every time you open a new window, that chat pops up like it's still an active discussion. It's like, just time it out, Facebook. We don't need it in my face every time I open a window. All right, here we go. This is the video. You guys be the judge. I think this is fascinating because it seems to me this kid is seeing something. And many of you have already seen this, I'm sure, but at any rate, let's check it out. Here's the video, and that, I guess, is Ghost Toast himself. So let's check out this video. If there's music, I'm going to have to mute it until he quits the music. There we go. I'm muting that. Damn it, I wish I wouldn't do the music. His sketches were violent, graphic war scenes full of detail no child should know. Nick was a hyperactive child, but there was one thing that calmed him. Toy soldiers. He'd line them up in formation, strategizing as if he'd done it before. So this is a past life one, and my apologies, I pulled up a wrong one. But anyways, are these people that would have come back with past life memories? Toy soldiers, he'd line them up in formation, strategizing as if he'd done it before. And here we go. Oh, now they got trouble. Come on,
Biology.
Now it says biology. Yeah, it's biology. Maybe our biology is to recycle. Let's see if I can refresh it. I've had that window open for a long time. Come on, come in. All right, I didn't want all this stuff, but at any rate, let me go ahead a little bit here. One day during school photo day, Nick assembled a costume from random box of clothes. It looked just like a Civil War uniform. I'm not sure if I buy that, because who has this kind of clothes laying around? The photographer said something. One day everything changed. Nick was downstairs one morning. He said he had a dream about a mission, a Civil War camp, and his final breath. He even named the town Baltimore, Indiana. And then his mom searched the name and she was stunned. Baltimore was a real place. And then the memories flooded in. So suddenly he's got this recall happening of these former events. He said he served in the 15th Infantry, and his name was Jonathan Walter Harper. He remembered being struck in the neck and falling backward. The last thing he said he saw was the red wagon on the field, but it gets stranger. Nick had a birthmark underneath his chin right where he said the bullet had hit. That's a fantastic, stunning phenomena. Stunned at his sudden recall of the events. Sorry, I missed that. What did that say? His parents searched Civil War rosters. They found him. J.W. Harper, Sergeant. Then they took Nick to Spring Hill, Tennessee, the place he believed he died. He ran into the battlefield and disappeared into the cornfields. When he returned, he whispered, "This is it. I died somewhere here." Years later, he came back, now 19 years old. the age J.W. Harper would have died. As he drove in, he was drawn to a specific field. The historian on the area confirmed this is one of the few places a wagon could have been at that time. Nick says he now knows for certain this is where I died. Now in his 20s, Nick is writing a book, still haunted by a life he swears he already lived. What do you believe? So I think these stories are fascinating. I don't know all of the logistics, but I know he was actually studied by a psychologist. Oh, what's going on? Last light, $10, nothing special to say. This gift is long overdue. Thank you for giving us all the Paranormal Portal. Have a safe and festive Independence Day, number 4. Thank you, Last Light. I appreciate that so much. That's so wonderful. Thank you so much. But I think these cases are fascinating. And I don't know that obviously everybody doesn't believe in reincarnation. But I think these cases might be a strong indicator of at least some of us redoing it, doing it over. Now, why do they come back with these memories? I don't know, because if we've all been recycled, so to speak, and reincarnated, so to speak, why don't we all have this? Well, must be some hiccup in that system. I don't know. Or maybe it's important that he did come back with this story. Maybe it's to substantiate the idea that, look, you might not get it right the first time. You might have to take a few runs at this to figure it out. And that's maybe normal. I'm sure we all do. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anybody nails it. Do Civil War reenactors still exist? I think they do, especially over on those old battlefields. Yeah. Very cool. There are genetic memories. That's a good point, though. I don't know if they were genetically related to the J.W. Harper or not. But it is interesting that he would know where he was, his former life, where he was from. He would know a name, and he would know the place where he died. And I don't know if there's a shared genetic history there that possibly comes down chromosomally as a genetic memory. I don't know. I'm not discounting the possibility, but you would think that would have been part of the narrative if that was the case. Like, oh, his great-great-uncle or great-great-great-uncle had been J.W. Harper, or whatever. I don't know. And even then, I don't know. It would have to be a direct relative, actually. It'd have to be like his great-great-great-grandfather or something. Because, at any divergence where there's two, then each would have a shared memory of whatever came before, but you wouldn't have branch memories. Like whatever happens over here would not suddenly become genetic information for what's over on this branch. So it would have to be a lineage of straight lines for it to be a genetic memory. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions at any rate. Yeah, a genetic memory. Last light, yeah. It's the idea that, some reasons, like we know when we're being watched. Well, maybe that's a genetic trait that was triggered by past trauma from our emergence from, on the food chain, where we rose up the food chain. Maybe we developed genetic traits to help us compete more. Genetic memories are ideas that maybe knowledge is transferred genetically. Some fundamental elemental knowledge of existing here is like, why are puppies born able to swim? They didn't learn it, but it has to be a genetic memory. It has to be a genetic knowledge that was passed down somehow. So the idea of genetic memories is that more robust information can be transferred or is transferred, and some people are able to tap into that. I don't know. I mean, that's probably not a great explanation, but that's the best one I can do on the fly. So I think this one's pretty fascinating. I've always been fascinated by these kind of stories because I don't know. I don't know what to say. These children are coming back with these memories they couldn't possibly have gathered on their own. I mean, even now, for a kid to come up in this era with some kind of understanding of Civil War battles and strategies. I mean, it's not like he's turning on the TV and seeing some, like a back in the day in the 50s, for instance, cowboy shows were real big, and honestly now there's like Yellowstone and all of that, and 1824 or whatever the hell that show is that's supposed to be a precursor to Yellowstone. And movies like Tombstone or whatever, they give us an idea of life in the old days. But there's nothing in common broadcasting now of Civil War stuff. Maybe documentaries, maybe educational materials talking about those experiences. But this is a small child, and who grew into obviously a man, but to not only have those memories, a lot of times that's the interesting part about this story too, is that the memories didn't fade. A lot of times those memories will fade as the child grows into like the 5-7 year age. They kind of seem to just move into their new life, and all of those traumatic memories and things that had happened just kind of fall away. Not always though. Sometimes they persist. It seems for this guy, they persisted. And I don't know. That's not as normal. As abnormal as those memories are to appear in children, generally they do fade away. They don't stick around. Like, they aren't continually a part of the person. It's like suddenly they fully merge into their new life and all of these other parts are forgotten. But in this case, it looks like he hung on to them. So that's the first one for What the Hell Is That? What do you guys think? You think it's powerful? Do you think it's possible that he is the reincarnated J.W. Harper? I think it is, personally. I don't pretend to understand it, but I don't understand a lot in this world. So it's another chip in the bowl of chips. So this one, what the hell is this one? I don't think this one was anything. I think I pulled it up and went, I don't think there's much to that one. These ones are interesting. This is another one, and this one comes from Haunts and Hollers on Facebook. Close all the chats. God, drives me crazy. All right, let me minimize this window and shrink it down so it'll fit on the other screen, and we'll check this one out. This one's pretty fascinating. We've covered this kind of stuff on the history of the show before, but we'll do it again. These stories, I gotta admit, are absolutely fascinating. And they really boggle my mind, because whatever's going on, these people are experiencing someone being there, like physically perfectly present for them, but for them only. And so it's some kind of manifestation of a spirit, but it's a targeted manifestation. So apparently it appears real for the experiencer, to the point that they cannot distinguish this individual from everyone else that might be around, other people that they may come in contact with. So this one is coming from a channel on Facebook called Haunts and Hollers. And again, I don't think this is their video, but it's one that they're featuring. I don't know about the music, but I don't think there was music on this one, but let's check this one out. Here we go. Here we go. He was having a full conversation. They should have waited till it was over to tell him. Here you go. Wish it didn't have music. Security guard talking to a ghost. Yeah, their music really makes it hard to share.
Dispatch to 329.
The framing of this video is not really great either.
329, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to a lovely lady. I saw her walking by the door, and she said she's looking for Mr. Griffin. Her name is Miss Abigail.
Her name is Miss Abigail. Her name is Miss Abigail. So he's standing there talking to an old lady that walked by looking for Mr. Peterson, and her name is Miss Abigail. So he's having a conversation with somebody that to him is right there, is right in front of him. And he's very animatedly talking with his hands and gesturing and such, but let's continue.
Did you say Miss Abigail?
Whoa.
Like, she's been passed on for 2 years now.
Doop. So Miss Abigail is no longer among us, or is she?
Can I get with that, please?
He's like, I think he said, can you repeat that, please? But they're captioning it as, can we not, please? I think he said, can you repeat that, please?
Miss Abigail she died 2 years ago.
can't see the person I'm talking to?
No, there's nobody in front of you at all.
Hey,
Hey,
hello?
I gotta.
Anyone want a
stop this.
seat?
Damn it!
Wait. What?
I hate those ads. Anyway, interesting. So Miss Abigail was there talking to him. And it sounds scripted. Yeah, it does. But what if it's not? We've covered several of these through the years and they're usually cases just like this. Some guard is at a door. There's one from a hospital where there's an entry guard. It's after hours. It's at night, and there's double doors in front of him, and he's sitting there, and the double door's open, and he looks up, and then he stands up to greet whoever it is, has a conversation, motions behind him like, oh, well, this is where this is where that is, kind of thing. And yet nobody was there. And there wasn't any dialogue back and forth on that one, but clearly the guy was having a very serious discussion with somebody, explaining what was going on in there. And when he was questioned later, he's like, well, this little old lady came in and was asking questions, so I was trying to help her find what she was looking for. And I mean, it's another situation like that. I must have, throughout the history of the show, probably covered a dozen of these kind of videos. They're not real common, but they do pop up. Now, are they legitimate? It's possible you're right. It's possible they're just staged. I can't speak to the authenticity of any of them, but I can just tell you that it's not the first time this has surfaced in the paranormal. Could be copycats creating their own videos to, make it look good or whatever, create sensation around some event. But it could also be very, very great captures of a paranormal event happening. Unfortunately, we can't see what these people are seeing, but I will also tell you this. People are generally not good actors. It's hard to sell something in a convincing manner. And the guy talking to Miss Abigail is like, can you repeat that? Like, it didn't track. And then once it did, he's like, can you not see this person I'm talking to? And they're like, no. And then, visibly, he looks a little panicked, like, So, I don't know. Is it legit? It might not be. It might not be, but it also might be. And so, we can't really weigh in on anything other than what we can see. Could it be fake? Sure. Any of these videos could be fake. All of them could be faked, for all I know. We don't know, but all we can do is weigh it on the merit of what we can see and what can we observe. The reactions seemed organic. I would have expected maybe even a little more panic, but I don't know the guy. Some people are really unflappable. They're very stoic and very, they're not easy to shake. Who knows what his history is? Maybe, a longtime combat veteran is his security guard duty now, and he's just making things work, but he's seen hell already. So, well, it's a ghost. I don't know. But at any rate, interesting. Didn't you have a story when you were a security guard in the winter in Minnesota and you helped a homeless man? Come to find others said he was a ghost. Well, no, others didn't say he was a ghost. I'm saying I helped this man for a period of weeks in the coldest part of a Minnesota winter. And I was supposed to kick out anybody homeless. But it was like a 20 below night in the dead of a Minnesota winter. Just at the tail end, but we got a real cold snap. And I was like, God, this is, I feel heartless that they said to us, look, homeless people are moving into this area and we got to move them out. It's our job. And so I was lamenting that. And sure enough, I was working security in a parking garage, but it was also attached to a low income housing unit. And there was it was a secure building. So it's like people couldn't just go in, but there was these entryways that were heated. And that's where they said to watch for the homeless people. So I did my job and came around, and I came and saw a gentleman there, but he looked like Santa Claus. The guy looked like Santa Claus. And to this day, I can't remember his name because names are not my strong suit. But I let him sit there, and I just told him I couldn't have a heart. He didn't have shoes. The guy was walking around in like athletic socks in 20 below winter. And I was like, I can't kick this guy out. I can't call myself a human being and kick this person out into that hell. I mean, I was sure he wouldn't survive, and I was not going to be the guy to sign his death certificate. I mean, it was deadly cold. And so I said, look, you can be here, stay warm for as long as you can. But, and I was the overnight guard, so it was very quiet generally. But I said, if somebody comes, I have to act like I'm kicking you out. So just play along with me and go around the corner like I've kicked you out until they leave. Then you can come back in. And we played the cat and mouse like that for, a day or two or whatever. And then other residents came to meet this guy, and they helped him out, gave him clothes and things like that, shoes, things to help him out. So it was very nice, and it was really a community event. And then the guy was brilliant. He would, on the warmer nights over the couple of weeks that he was there, we would stand out and he would talk about the stars. Like one time after I had to act like I was kicking him out, we went outside and I was escorting him, and then we got out of eyesight. We kind of stopped, and he said, do you know the stars? And I was like, well, not really. I think they're beautiful, but I don't know anything about them. And then he started pointing at the stars and telling me all of the constellations. And then he told me all of the stories behind these constellations, all of the legends and stuff. And I was like, this guy's brilliant. He's so smart. He knows all about it. And we had discussions about this. And that was like at the end of the second week when this guy was around. And it was getting warmer. And it was a kind of a melty morning. And there was kind of a haze and fog. And it was about 5 a.m. So but there's city streets and city lights down the streets and stuff. So he's like, well, it's time for me to go. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, take care of yourself. And I'm just going to say his name was Roger. That might have been his name because that just came to me now. I don't know. It seems like his name was Roger now that I think about it. And for years I couldn't remember it. But I hope that's right, wherever you are, Roger. I hope that's really your name. But he said, it's time for me to go. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll see you later tonight when I come back in. He goes, no, I won't be back. I'm going to be moving along now. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, you take care of yourself, Roger. It was nice knowing you, and thank you. And shook his hand, and he smiled, and he turned, and he was walking down the sidewalk. It's a straight shot. And he got about 50, 75 yards away, and it's a straight shot. And something snapped to my left. And I'm watching him walk to the right. Something made a snapping sound to my left, or some loud noise happened on my left. So I turned and looked. I didn't see anything, and then I turned to look back at Roger walking away, and he was gone. It was like he just melted away. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? What just happened? So that was my event with Roger. I think it was Roger. Wow. I've been trying to remember his name forever. Well, take care of yourself, Roger, wherever you are. It was a neat experience. So true story. It seemed supernatural to me. He showed up out of nowhere, stuck around for a couple of weeks, and then just walked away. And it wasn't like it was so foggy he could have melted into the fog. You could still see it was just hazy, like a hazy fog, but not thick. And it was like, again, 50, 75 yards away, roughly, just a ballpark estimate. And then suddenly that snapping noise, and I turned and looked like, what the hell was that? And then looked back, and he was gone. It was just like he's blinked out of existence. That was the last time I ever saw him. So, yeah, I never did see him again, ever. I mean, I was only a guard there for probably a year, 8 months to a year, but it was through that winter. I didn't continue to guard there, but Roger was gone. That was it. That was my last time I ever saw Roger, but he was just a fascinating guy. Very, very funny, warm, and he had these, I mean, honestly, when I say he looked like Santa Claus, think of like the sweetest looking Santa Claus you ever saw at like a mall or something, like somebody that just really embodied that spirit. And that's what Roger looked like. His eyes sparkled. They were these sparkling gems of blue. I mean, he just had these wonderfully loving and kind eyes, and the fluffy white beard. And I mean, he mostly had a hat on every time I saw him. So I don't know if he was bald or had a lot of hair. I don't know, but he just had these sparkling eyes that were just really neat. So, Grandizer, Brent Thomas guest starred in Touched by an Angel. I thought about it. I thought maybe it was an angel, because I do know that there's a saying in the Bible that you may be entertaining angels. So, give love and care to all you meet, or something like that. I'm badly paraphrasing that, but that's what I thought about after that moment. It's like, wow, could that possibly have been an angel? Maybe. I don't know. But I hope I did good. If that was a test for me, I hope I did it right, because I just couldn't do that to another person. I couldn't say, well, you're walking around in socks. Good luck. Get the hell out. I mean, what the hell? I made really crappy money at that job anyway, but I wasn't gonna sell my soul for, what was it, like maybe $5 an hour. It's like, nope, you can stay here, but just play along. I gotta act like I'm kicking you out. So that's the story. Yep. So anyway, interesting for what it's worth. I don't know. I've just always equated it to maybe that's my angel story. Like the one time when I maybe encountered an angel. But who knows? You'd love to hear more of my stories, Amy? I'll tell you, I've been interviewed several times on many other shows, and I would suggest, I mean, I've repeated them here on the show many times, and I'm almost reluctant to now, because I feel like, well, if somebody tunes in, it's like, I've heard this one before, go check out the other channels. So I would just say, check out any of the interviews I've done on other shows like Sasquatch Chronicles, like Kev Baker. God, what are some other shows? I've done a lot of interviews. I don't know. I've never kept a chart of where I've been on what shows, so I don't know. But if you can catch one of my interviews somewhere else, that's where I talk about a lot of my own experiences. I've had several, many through my life. I'm forgetting more than I'll ever remember. It's just always been a part of my journey. Oh, thank you, Nate. Yeah, I remember Highway to Heaven. I do. Yep, it was a cool show. So very cool. Thank you for the donation, brother. I really appreciate that. You were on Bigfoot Crossroads? Yeah, I was with Matt. Yep. Matt and I have done several shows back and forth. He's a great guy. Just talked to him today, as a matter of fact. We were having a big discussion about things. So I like that I have these friends like Dave Scott and Matt Knapp and Tex and all of these people and Wes, because it's neat to have that group of people in the community. And it's not because I don't value everybody's opinion, because I really do, and everybody's advice, I really do value it. But it's a really a very unique experience doing shows like this. And there's so many things that as creators we have to worry about and consider and try to understand and strategize. And so it's neat to have this group of peers and friends that I can rely on and talk to. And so if any of you out there are doing a show or thinking of doing a show and you want some advice, let me know. I'm happy to help. I know for me, when I was starting, Wes was a big part of my evolution, and as was Kev Baker, as was Chris Geo, people that were were doing this, and they were invaluable to me, and I'm happy to pay that forward as well and offer advice or opinions or help anybody, as much as I can. My time is very limited, but I'm happy to, share thoughts with you and maybe even listen to what you're doing and offer some opinions. Obviously, I'm not an enormous success. So it's like I don't have this all dialed in, and I'm not sitting on shows of millions of downloads or anything like that. But I love what I'm doing, and I'm having a blast doing it. So I'm happy to help if I can. All right. My God. I've got to be done with Cryptid Corner, or with this, because we got to get to the Cryptid Corner. So this has been... What the hell is that?
What the hell is that?
All right, because we got more to do. I'm going to try to squeeze in one story. I can't believe I'm only going to give you one story for the Cryptid Corner. My apologies to my cryptid audience enthusiasts. It wasn't my intention to talk through everything and go back into editorial mode like I did last night. But you did ask, so I answered the questions, and you guys wanted to know. Brent, you're our secret treasure. Oh, thank you, Rachel. Love you guys. Your love for your work shows. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that so much. Oh, Maggie. Thank you for bringing so much light. It's just wonderful. Oh, you guys are... I don't deserve you guys. I really don't, but I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. All right, I want to give you at least one cryptid story because I know there's plenty of you out there that are like, when are we going to get to the cryptids? Well, here we are. This is it, folks. It's time for the Cryptid Corner. I know, Grandizer, I know. Thank you, Grandizer. Grandizer's been around for, I don't know, a year and a half now. And he's gotten mad at me sometimes when I don't give him some cryptids. So I got to make sure to give Grandizer his help in the cryptids, or he's not going to be happy with me. So you don't have to take your shirt off. All this love from your people here. Well, you know, love's coming right back at you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing it. All right, here we go. This is the Cryptid Corner, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to just start out at Sasquatch Chronicles blog. I miss covering stories from Lon's Phantoms and Monsters. I love Phantoms and Monsters as well. But Lon is in the middle of a rebuild on Phantoms and Monsters. And so I do have some articles that I pulled up that are cached on my computer that I can read. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much. But I'm kind of saving them because I know I'm probably going to need them for Saturday's show. So we'll go through Sasquatch Chronicles here. Here's a report from July 2nd. This is today old. And please support Wes's work over on his blog. I know many of you are listeners anyway, but you got to check out the blog. The guy is just really actively keeping this updated and looking for great material, including some of mine, which is really an honor. So thanks, Wes, for posting some Paranormal Portal stuff over there. I really appreciate it. So here we go. Wyoming wild man, tall and faster than a horse. And this is kind of a historical report, but here it is. Newspapers reported wild man of Chuckwater was between 7 and 12 feet tall, covered in dark hair, and could run faster than any horse. He even eluded a hunt in 1887 by a circus owner who wanted to put him in a cage for his freak show. That's exactly one of the reasons I'm hoping they would remain elusive. And maybe they are something more than just a physical being, and maybe that's not even a real worry, but it is a real worry in case they are, because there's people like that even still today that would love to put them in a cage and have the big draw and get the big audiences to come see the big hairy man. And that would break my heart. That would just be a tragedy. So in the fall of 1887, a man from the Four-Paw Circus arrived in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The stranger was rumored to be an agent for the circus, one of the largest in America at the time, and was quietly organizing an expedition. His purpose was to capture a wild man from the remote Wyoming territory and put him in a cage for his freak show. Where cowboys and ranchers had failed, this circus man was determined to succeed. The Four-Paw Circus was the rival of P.T. Barnum and needed this wild man for its growing menagerie. Barnum's wild man was an old sailor who had begged to be caged while he sobered up, and he began playing the role of a wild man for the circus. The Wyoming man in the Four-Paw Circus agent wanted would be much more spectacular, because if rumors were to be believed, the mythical creature locals called Bud was the real deal. The wild man had been running at large in the Chugwater Valley for 2 years, about 50 miles north of Cheyenne by that time. Bud, Wyoming's wild man. Reporters for the Cheyenne Leader described the Chugwater savage as extremely tall. Cowboys and others who've been favored with a view of the creature assert that he's anywhere from 7 to 12 feet tall, probably not the same one. I don't think you get that big of a disparity just between several witnesses to the same event. It's probably a family group, and people have seen different individuals. But anyway, one reporter wrote, "None will compromise and on a figure an inch shorter than 7 feet, while some insist he's at least 6 feet taller." Well, they all agreed that Bud wore no clothes, was covered with a heavy coat of long black hair. While apparently devoid of all reasoning facilities with which an ordinary men are endowed, the outcast eventually possessed animal cunning of a very high order, the story said. It was believed that Bud lived in a cave among the hills surrounding Chugwater Station of the Cheyenne and Northern Railroad. Surveyors, prospectors, ranchmen, and cowhands had all looked and failed to locate the retreat of the wild man. At times, his actions are ghost-like and supernatural, the reporter wrote. The tops of the famous castle walls are his favorite walks in stormy weather. Locals claim that when wind moves through Chugwater Valley at a high rate of speed, Bud could be calmly strolling over the natural parapets. Cowboy versus the wild man. This is kind of, no, we're almost there. The first year that Bud was spotted, a young cowboy named Charles Walters was working at a ranch near Chugwater Valley. After hearing all the reports of this wild man of the mountains, Walters organized an expedition of other young cowboys to capture Bud. The hunters were fully equipped for the chase. They located Bud quickly. The wild man was on foot, and they thought they would easily capture him, and instead, the wild man outran the horses. Now, horses run about 40 miles per hour, and to outrun a horse, you've got to be going more than 40. So, 30 to 40. I imagine 40 is the average for a horse, but he's outrunning horses. I mean, that puts him in the 50 mile an hour range, right? Wow. Walters was disgusted to see himself foiled and ordered his men to pursue the creature on foot. Well, if they couldn't catch him on horses, why are they going to try on foot? Eyewitnesses later claim members of the posse paired off and spent the greater part of 2 days hunting Bud. Bud would allow his enemies to approach within a few hundred yards and then would suddenly be off like a shot. The young cowboys attempted to surround the creature, but it appeared almost impossible for Bud to escape. He would disappear as mysteriously as he came. They failed in capturing Bud and returned back to the ranch defeated. Well, this gnawed at Walters. He didn't know if Bud was a spirit or composed of
Maria.
flesh. It says Maria. Maria. Ave Maria. Okay. Maria. Okay. They didn't know if Bud was spirit or composed of flesh and blood, and it bothered him that this wild man was living only a few miles away from the Walters ranch that he was working on. And one day he quietly announced that he would take a shot at the mysterious inhabitant of Chugwater Valley and determine once and for all which world Bud belonged to. Walters chose to go on his mission alone and armed himself with a long-range rifle and a six-shooter. He started for the mountains on foot. When Walters returned, he wasn't the same man. He never wanted to talk about what happened out there solo with Bud, but was reportedly as jumpy as if he had encountered old Satan himself. Finally, he shared the story. Walters said he shot at the wild man while Bud was standing, silhouetted on a rock. Well, the shot missed, and Bud uttered a wild shriek. He shook his fist at the marksman, advanced fully 500 yards toward him in a menacing manner, and just as Walters was about to fire a second shot, turned and ran. The incident had such an effect on Walters that he soon left the country, declaring prior to his departure that he just knew Bud would start raiding ranches and murdering settlers in their beds. Even the Cheyenne reporter didn't believe this because the wild man had never shown himself to be aggressive. The following year, the circus man appeared, and folks in Cheyenne felt certain he would accomplish what Walters had failed to do. They would finally have to answer of just who or what Bud really was. The party to capture Bud for the circus left Cheyenne around the 1st of November, 1887, and was never reported on again. The Four-Paw Circus apparently never got the Wyoming wild man, and its attempt to capture him may have been the last in the annals of time. Annals. Sorry. I just said annals. Oops. I meant annals of time. As is the true identity of the Chugwater wild man named Bud. So there you go. I don't know. Hey, Metal Ghost, how you doing? You're kind of late. 10 points off for tardiness. I'm just saying. All right. Yeah, I'd never heard the story of Bud in the Chugwater area of Wyoming. That's interesting. Looks very, I don't know if there's an actual picture of the area or not, but looks pretty desolate. Wow. That's pretty crazy. So, outrunning horses, though, that's a big takeaway. Larry and Shirley Bell, how you doing? Good to see you over on Facebook. Everything is going fine. Thank you so much for asking. Doing the best I know how. And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it could be a hell of a lot better. I didn't know it was a Freudian slip. I don't know. I just thought I was reading an article. I wasn't even thinking. I'm just pronouncing words as they come by and listening to the story myself as I'm reading it. I don't know if you guys know this, but true, hand to God truth. I don't pre-read anything on this show. Everything I'm reading to you, I'm cold reading for the first time. And so I've been known to butcher some words through the years. And I don't know. Is it overtime? I guess it is. Kind of overtime, Maggie. But I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I guess it is about time, isn't it? It's hard to let you guys go. It's always easy to come in and start these shows. It's just not always easy to end them because, I don't know, I just have such a good time with you guys. So I guess it is going to do it for our show tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you've had a good time hanging out with me. And nearly a D-hole event. Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. I can't say anything because Sasquatch Chronicles is fantastic. Yeah, it is. Wes does a great job over there, Jason. You're right. I mean, he cuts a lot of the grass that I'm walking on, so I can only say thank you to Wes. But I thank you all for being here. Make sure to go over and check out Dave Scott over on Spaced Out Radio because they own the night over there, I guess. I just rent this part of it. Anyway, that's all I got for you. So you guys take care. What was that? What did I see on here? Somebody said, take care. And all Brent, thank you for being so amazing. Oh, thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. That's very sweet. I don't know. Amazing is the right word, but I just like to have fun with you guys and connect. So thank you all for being here. I'd look like a real idiot if I was doing this alone. So the fact that you guys here legitimizes me. So thank you for making me legitimate. I appreciate that. Thank you, Rachel, for the link to Discord. Remember to get over there and check it out because there is a question of the week. Mr. Chucky Danger is posted, and we'll go over that on Saturday. Squitter Hyena, take care and have a lovely 4th. Thank you, you too. Thank you to all. Question, Brent, you ever interviewed Robert Keider, who does Bigfoot research? No, I haven't, but I know the name. I just have never made that connection yet. Oftentimes when I do interviews for the podcast, it's people that have reached out to me. I don't organize a lot of interviews actively. It's people that reach out to me and then I respond to them and we dial it in. But generally, I don't do a lot of hunting around for interviews, a ton. I do some. But I think he'd probably be a great guest. So thank you for that suggestion. Robert Kreider. Or Kreider? Is it Kreider? I'll have to look into that. But anyway, be safe on the 4th. Absolutely, Phil. You're absolutely right. Thank you all to all the people in America, USA here. Have a happy 4th. Be safe. Take care of yourselves and be close to your family as much as you can. Love your kids. Marvel at the colorful fireworks and just relax and enjoy the day. And I hope you all are safe and have a wonderful holiday. And I'll be back here on Saturday night to take you once again into the paranormal portal. So good night. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll see you Saturday, 7 p.m. right here, wherever you're watching now. Come back then. We'll do it again. All right. Take care, everybody. See ya. Love you, mean it. And take care of yourselves.